Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Grateful Not Greedy podcast. My name is Kris, and I am here with my very joyful, very playful co-host, and her name is
Rachel. Hello.
And if you can't see us, you will not know that we are together in our makeshift studio today.
We keep makeshift in all sorts of places.
I think it's always makeshift. Exactly, but grateful, not greedy. Grateful that we have a studio that's virtual, that we can make this happen wherever we are, which is right now here. So let's get started. So you, Rach, had something that you thought would be helpful to talk about today, and you were thinking about it, and I don't know, I might be a little reluctant. So why don't you tell us what you want to talk about?
Sure. The idea of play. And how it's not something for kids, it's for adults, and how it is something that I don't think we value as a society. I mean, so the idea of play, right? Kids in school right now, recess is like minimal. It keeps get taken away. It's like 15 minutes. It's like 10 minutes here. It's not a value in our community, in our society here. And that's happens at a young age. And then, we get to this place in our lives, or I get to this place in my life where I'm like, where's my play? And it's like this unrestricted, no expectation, freedom time. Mm-hmm. But there's a part of me that's guilty because it's not productive. Totally. There's a part of me that's almost feels silly doing it, and certainly I brought it more into my life for the last couple of years, but I'm realizing it needs to be there every day
As a thing.
Yeah. And I was reminded of that because I just had my girlfriend come with her daughter, and she's 6, and
kids are not 6.
No. No, not teenagers.
Yeah, it's a good point though, because that's a massive difference. Having a 6-year-old versus a 16-year-old.
Exactly.
Always forget.
But what I realized is I really like my 6-year-old self.
100%.
I really like that, and I love the curiosity of it. I love the we're just gonna do whatever and not have any attachment to where it's going or what's gonna happen next. We're just gonna go and pick up some sand, or
especially a 6-year-old on vacation. Yeah, that's even amping it up.
Yeah. And what can come when you have nothing set in front of you and you have a curious mind. And a 6-year-old has a very curious mind, very, very
totally.
It's
naturally.
Naturally. And so to be able to tap into that for me was extremely helpful, to the point where I was telling people, I'm I want to play every day. I want to be my 6-year-old self how do I do that? How do I make that happen? And how do I bring that forward? Because what I do know is it was probably realizing I didn't play enough at some point. I was I didn't fulfill that.
Yeah.
In general, when I was I think I was a more serious kid. And so there's some of that. But then the other part of it is why do I restrict that?
Right.
I have the flexibility in my day to do that. I also have people that I have brought into my world that are more playful. I've noticed that the friends that have come in the last handful of years, they have that quality to them. So I am seeking it if I'm not even aware of it.
Yes.
And you probably know this. Your friends that are more playful, wild, just for no reason do something. There's something about that. There's a spark to it. There's a joy to it. There's there's something there for us. And it's why, do we talk about it enough? And that's the whole point of this discussion.
What does it look like, and what is it? Okay, let me just bring a couple of things out from what you said, and you can elaborate on it, because I remember being with you recently, and was I there for 4th of July? Was it 4th of July? I think I was there yes, I was there 4th of July. For one of your celebrations, right? And ironically, I wasn't home, and I'm always home for 4th of July. So it was just very strange that I don't even remember what the situation was. And we went out to the golf course. Remember this?
Right. Yeah.
So we went out, I was are we even going to see fireworks? Because we're doing the whole dinner, and everyone's over at your place, and it's just a whole mixed crowd. And then like a few of us were going to go and do the fireworks, right? So we pile into whoever's car or whatever. This to me is play. This felt like high school, right? Yeah. So we pile into like whoever's car. We go off to some random spot that you can barely see. That's like, get to the golf course. Yeah. You're like, no, this is really how we get there. And we all get out of the car and we start walking through the non-gate, like it's not a gate, right? We just cheat onto the golf course, and then through the golf course we get there, and like bing, like there's the fireworks, and we can see them, and it's like, oh, we could do cartwheels on the golf course, we could do a run, whatever, and then, oh my God, there's so many things about this, and this is a playful moment, right? Because then not only are we there, kind of doing our thing, two things. One is we see your son come out with this friend onto the golf course also, and they have like planned this whole like picnic, like they've got their whole fun thing going on, right? And we're like the only people on the golf course, right? So it's not like everyone was there. That was hilarious. So he comes having his fun, and then your girlfriend brings out her very, very fun of this like whatever the heck wings, like LED wings that like are flopping around, and this is a really good example of talking about play, because for you, that's like super fun. And I could play, like that's fun for me, but it's not like I'm not doing it because I'm like, oh, I don't want to play with wings. That's not my thing. It's just like, I didn't really feel like flying. That wasn't like fun to me. I was having a really good time playing on the golf course and just being there and joking with your friends and being witty and, like all that kind of stuff, which is fun for me.
Right.
So to talk about that, like even as a moment, as a starting point, because that was random. Like that was so rando.
It was
right?
Unplanned.
Completely.
Right.
And I don't know if the fairy stuff was it wasn't planned for you.
No, and my girlfriend didn't even plan it. Her partner brought it as a surprise for her. It was a gift to her on her birthday a couple months before that. But he packed them up and brought them as a surprise for her and gave them to her. So then she's running across the golf course with her big LED, like all lit up, beautiful fairy lamps. Oh yeah. Yeah. And like their pictures are, and then she comes over and she's like, do you want to wear them? And I was like, no, I couldn't. She's like, come on. I was like, okay. And then of course I put them on and I'm like enjoying it and running around, and it feels like really cool. And people start coming back through the golf course. Zach is at the fire line over. Looking at me. Like there's someone running around the golf course with bright colored light up fairy wings that are human size.
But in fairness, it's Hawaii, so it's like it could be anything.
Totally.
No judgment there. Right?
There's very little.
Of course they are.
Yeah, very little. And then of course, then my son looks up and he's like, that can't be my mom running around the fairy ring dog. And I'm like, hi, And those moments of just like, there's no point to it.
Right.
There's no point to it. And there's
Zero
no like, like I think I'm running around barefoot and like kind of dewy grass and like, and it's pitch black.
Totally.
And
that looks really cool on video. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like those moments, those are the ones that I like want to harness, tap into and make space for them in my life. And make the place for that part of me that like, no purpose, no goal, no outcome. Yeah. Like there's nothing I'm going to get from putting on fairy wings. Like it's not going to make me
I don't know. Maybe you're going to get a really good reel out of it. Right? You should skip that over to some editor. They're like, wow, I made you this really awesome reel. Okay. So let me keep flowing with that, because one of the things that was interesting, my kids are in and out of the house right now. So I have a college age daughter who hasn't yet gone back to school. So she's home, like she's kind of in that state of, I've got a lot of time on my hands and not a lot of responsibilities, and I'm trying to do some internship and stuff. So she's sitting at the table the other day. I'm like making breakfast for one and then doing my own thing. I've got some work I'm working on. And she's like, Mom, do you want to play Uno? And I was like, I do want to play Uno. Yes. And for whatever reason, we didn't end up playing. I think we ended up doing something else. So she ended up bedazzling, something like that. So thinking about a couple of things. One, she has been actually now, importantly, now that we're having this conversation, which I didn't anticipate coming up, she's been bedazzling at my table with friends.
Yeah.
Right? Like calling. I have all kinds of like bracelet crap and like little sequin things.
Yeah.
And I won't tell you what they're bedazzling because that's another story. But they're bedazzling like little bottles and little bracelets and like just, crafty kind of stuff. but she invited, it was a girlfriend and a guy friend over to bedazzle. Right. And so it's funny too, because the guy friend comes over and they're in their 20s, right? The guy friend comes over and he's like going ham, like doing awesome. And, and he's like, hey, look, she's like, you're really into this bedazzling. He's like, you invited me over to bedazzle. I'm going to bedazzle. Go to bedazzle. Like, I'm going to bedazzle. So a couple points on that, because the one thing is making it possible and making it part of the conversation. So for instance, often I will put out like a puzzle on my little coffee table, and it's not by invitation. You just kind of like can put a thing, and that is a version of play. And it becomes part of the conversation because it's there. Or I could, on my kitchen table that we just talked about having super clean, right? I could have some version of play, whether that's like the little peg game or the Uno, or we play Uno a lot in our house, whoever's around playing Uno, or any of the different games. If stuff is available, to your point about forgetting it or not thinking about it, if stuff is available as like, this is a play thing, like this is an invitation to play. So we can even think about it as that. We talk a lot about having a practice of whatever it is that we're working on, right? So how do we make it a practice that the invitation to play is right there all the time? And if we're seeing it as, oh, I have this as an invitation on my table to play, whether it's needlepoint or I don't know what people do, like your double hatch stitch.
Or even like coloring.
Coloring is a great example, because they use that even in when I go to my various workshops. And one of the things that they do for people who are healing from trauma is to color. And that is, it's not that they say color, it's that they give them a wide variety of things available just to kind of sit there. And what people often choose is just to color, because it's kind of like that mindless, your mind can go. We just did our first spin class together. Right? And what did our friend say? Our friend said, I love spin because it allows me just to like, my mind is nowhere else. My mind, it's fully present. It's this dark room. I'm free, but I'm also focused at the same time. And I thought that was and that's, I'm sure, play for her.
Yeah.
You don't get to 1,000 spin classes, but you don't view it as play. And even my other friend said, be careful, it's addicting. Right? So it's just kind of like there must be something in your mind that allows that. So we can talk about all those aspects now about flowing in with the play.
Right. And I think there's a couple of points. I love the idea of like making space for play, like having it be present in your world. And that's a really good point. Like, why wouldn't I just have like, for a while, beading was big in my house, and I have the beads out and like string out, and you can just kind of like,
or those little like elastic, whatever those, remember the kids used to make the bracelet?
Yeah.
Like all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So some of that out and present, or Uno sitting out so it's out and available. And then the other piece you hit on is like, what is play for you?
Yes.
And what is play for me?
Right.
And we can see this on a playground. If you ever go by a playground and watch kids play, they play very differently.
Totally.
Right? But they all call it play.
Correct.
Adults also play very differently. Like your daughter's way of playing, the dazzling right now. That's our play. That's that's where she's like, it's fun, it's creative. Like there's like no real thing happening there except for just like the outlet of it.
Yes.
And so for me, what is my version of play?
Right.
What is your version of play? And it doesn't mean they have to match.
And it's also not the only version ever. It's just
it's like what is your play right now? Like what is playful for you? And I realized I was talking to play to a friend, and I realized our plays, we were like, oh, we both love to play, and we found out our plays are not at all the same.
It's a great conversation for us to have. Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, well, I respect your play. Like that doesn't fulfill my play need. Right.
Well, it's a good point. So when you invite yourself to play, or you invite other people to play, then it's like, is that play for that? Like, is this all play? Not to judge people for their play or whatever, but just having maybe a wider definition for all of us of play. Because as I've said before, even on this podcast, one of the ways that I like to play is to do SAT math. That is fun for me. That is play. No, 12 people on the planet would agree with me.
Right. And you said this before, and I remember you saying this going, yeah, nope, not my play. But here's the question is so that brings you joy to do it, right?
It. Yeah.
So is bringing yourself joy is that play?
What is
or is play something different?
Right.
And I don't know. Like I don't have the answer to that. And I know the things that bring me joy is community and connection. Totally.
Yeah.
100%.
Right.
But I definitely have fun playing around others, but I don't need that to find my play either.
Right.
Like being able to play with friends or someone, I connect deeply to, totally amazing. But also I define play as like, I get up in the morning, I get my music going, and I actually dance around.
100%.
And that's like, that's play for me. And it is just for me. There's no point to it. I'm not trying to work out. I'm not
give you an award.
No, oh gosh, no, not me. Dancing is really bad. But it's also something I've never done before in my life. In the last couple of years, like I've never danced around before. And now I do. And so it's filling something that I haven't done before that is like almost a little bit uncomfortable,
Yes.
but also very freeing and totally unstructured.
Yeah.
Right. And like whatever song I want, or I just tell my music to play whatever it is, and whatever song comes on, I'm going to figure out how to like move to it.
Right.
And it sets the tone. And so that's the other thing I think play gives, at least for me, it gives like, it's almost like a reset.
Totally.
It's like, we call them brain breaks or whatever. Like play is that reset. And I think, so we don't value play. I was like, as adults, we should, because I think it is a reset for us. It lets us then set back into whatever structure or things we have to get done in a different place, like in a different mindset.
Yeah.
And so as much as I say there's no point to it, there is a benefit to it. There's like
Right, no point to it. There's
like you're saying a result.
Exactly. And it's like a directed activity that has an outcome that we're trying to get to. Yeah, which is the beauty of it. That's what makes it play.
Yes.
It's nebulous. It's just kind of like a freeing exercise. It's just because it gets your endorphins going, like it gets your dopamine going, it gets your
It feels good.
Yeah.
And to me, like that's what I want present in my relationships.
So I'm thinking even about when even like the definition, I think of play when I think of my SAT math or the Gooby stuff that I really enjoy. I think of the people who spend time like in their garage, like tinkering with like transistor radios or, like their little cars or, you know what I mean? They're rebuilding an engine or they have some, that is play. So it's a relationship conversation too, right? Because, we could have all kinds of opinions about all the stuff that's existing in our garage. That's for, like I said before, we know everyone has all these different hobbies that I don't have. Well, the guitars is a good example. I mean, we have a lot of guitars in our house. Why? Because that's play for someone in my house, play for a few people in my house, right? And so letting that be available as play, just thinking of it, like expanding it and giving it the importance for them. But I give it to the importance for them. So now what's important for me? What do I get to play with and how does that look?
Right. What are your version of guitars?
Kind of
like what's your guitar?
Your point about dancing, and I do dance, right? So it's like, and the kids always joke, and at some point, I don't know, one of my kids had to do some dance thing, and I was like, I can look, and so I just did a little kind of quick choreography, a couple of minutes, and they're like, how do you know how to do that? Like, yeah. It's like, because I spent a lot of years doing exactly this. It doesn't go away. It's like riding a bike, right? It's like sitting in your mind. And even that, like, I like doing that. I don't know if it's play for me anymore. It's just, it's something I can do, it's something I can certainly do. I don't even know if it's playful. And I have another friend who has signed up for some kind of dance class. I don't even know if it's, like, I would do tap. Shuffle, step, shuffle, hop, step, pull back, right? That's not me. But right, I could do that, and I'm like, would that be right? But it's like, would that be play for me? Gosh, even piggybacking on some of our more recent conversations, expanding that view of because play should not, in my world, play doesn't have to be uncomfortable. This is not when we have to. In my life, this is not when we have to push up against our comfort zone.
Right.
Maybe you want to, and that's a way that you can get more free. If you're too constricted as a person, you feel like, oh, I don't have enough play. Well, then yes, you're gonna have to push up against your comfort zone because your comfort zone is like so freaking teeny tiny that you need it to be like a little bit bigger so we can even say the word play in your comfort zone. No, it doesn't even fit in the lines of your comfort zone, just to even start thinking about it. But it doesn't even have to be something that you have in your head now. We have friends who are pickleballers. I don't understand it, but they seem to, everyone loves pickleball. Everybody loves it. And that is their play. Maybe that's another conversation, right? That's their play until it's not. until then it becomes like the job and the competition.
Right.
I've got to make it like this, and now I need a new racket, and now I need to go to the trainer to learn how to be the best pickleball player, and now I have my schedule. I don't know, but maybe that's still play for certain people. But yeah, like a lot of the free flow of it and the coloring and the this, and I think is where it starts. I think that's a genesis.
It is, and that's a good point. It's like sometimes we discover things because they're fun, right? Like, oh, I love being in the water, you know, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna swim, and then you end up like peeing and like doing long swims and all this stuff, and then some of that shine wears off because now it has a goal and a point.
Right. We talked about turning your hobby into a job.
Yeah, and that's where for me, I want play to sit in that no goal, like just for the sake of experiencing it. I might get better at it. Like I might get better at dancing after I dance for a while, and I might, you know, get better at skipping. Like I was just skipping down the street with my little 6-year-old.
When kids are there also, yes, we should all be skipping.
Yeah, and skipping, and like before class, before yoga class, if you come early, we do this, like we play Jump for Your Love song, and we jump nonstop, and that's like we make it fun.
Wow.
Yeah, that's so good for you.
Hardcore.
It is. Great. So yeah, now it's like over 4 minutes jumping around, but we make it playful, and we haven't made it longer, and it's still a fun experience for us, and we laugh about it, and I also know the benefit of it.
Of course, yeah.
But the fact that I made it play instead of saying I am doing my jump exercises for 4 minutes a day.
Yeah, come early for jump. Come early for plyo.
Yeah.
Yeah, people be like, heck no.
I've watched.
I come into that part of the that part of it.
I've watched students come in and be like, I don't think so. And then over time, I watched more join in. And the last one I had join in, and it's like, she's in her mid-80s. And she's like, wow, jumping with both feet off the ground at the same time is hard. And I was like, it's a skill. It's a practice. Let's try it. And by the end of the song, she's like lifting both feet up.
Really?
Yeah. Which is amazing.
Yeah.
And then she was like,
not necessary. She just run around, and that's great.
She could do that. But she also was coming for like, okay, I want to understand. Like, I want to work. But I think she wouldn't have leaned into it if it seemed like work. She leaned into it because it's like, oh, they're having fun.
Okay.
Right? Like there is something that draws people in when things look playful.
Yes, but there's also something that scares people when things look playful, because then you have to look silly, or you have to, you know, fight against yourself a little bit.
Right.
There's
like,
no goal. Like,
make yourself a little bit like less serious, more lighthearted, like, you know, not like sure, I could spend my time stretching right now and that might be better for my body, but I'm going to do something ridiculous and jump around the room, right, kind of thing. And absolutely, there's a little bit of like suspending your age belief to play.
It's a very complex conversation.
It is. And I think it's one for me, as we sit here, you know, as I continue to get older, what are the things, the characteristics I want to cultivate and nourish and grow?
And I would say this for anyone at any age, because to your point, you so quickly lose the play. So exactly. That's like taken out of you by like middle school, right? You know, it's like, okay, now you're serious about this sport. We got to do it this way. Oh, you want to get into this college? Better be doing this. Oh, you want to make this kind of money? Better get a job. Yeah. Like what? You know,
right.
Not even 12, you know?
Right. And it's the first thing to get shoved off the plate.
Yeah.
It is the first thing.
Right.
It's like, stop playing around. You remember that line? Like, I was like, if I ever say those words again, like, someone please, like.
That's such a good point. It's something that you tell me to parents might say, especially, it's called like 70s parents, right? Like, stop mucking around. Like,
stop playing around. Like, be serious. Like,
when the kids are roughhousing and stuff. It's the first thing you want to take away when that's part of them playing until it's not. But it really started them. Yeah, and that's like such an important, essential thing of growth. And so it's not like you just stop growing when you're older, right? Like that's all part of it. And play is so important we talk about this as you're a healthcare worker, you know, we talk about all the development parts. You go through all these courses in psychology and whatnot, and you understand data-wise how important it is for kids to play, how important that is for their brain work, how important that is for the development of self, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, like that flows through the whole life. And to your age point conversation, that's a massive pivot even on your age, but it's also a personality thing, right? You're kind of it's the whole thing. So the grateful, not greedy, like even think about that. Grateful, right? Grateful that I can be look uncomfortable. How would I say that? Right? That I could
just
look like be in a situation where people might be like, what is she doing? Why is she doing that? Why is she dancing around over there? Because I like to work out in airports, because I'm in airports a lot for whatever reason. My life is just that way. But I like to stretch, and I like to take my suitcase and like move it along and like stretch out and stuff like that. To me, that's play. I'm sure it is to you too. Moving your body, that's probably not what people think of as play.
Yeah, they're like, oh, she's doing something weird over there.
Totally weird, and my kids are horrified. I have established that my kids are horrified by a lot of things that I do. But to me, that's playful, because I'm stuck in an airport. What else am I going to do at this airport?
Just sit down.
Just sit here, stew and be annoyed about my delay or whatever it is. So it's even getting comfortable with the opportunities. So okay, grateful that I can look at play as a possibility, and not greedy that your play is not my play.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be greedy that I don't like to play the way that you do. And this is where I think people get stuck, because it's like, well, how can you not? What do you mean you don't want to play tennis? Or you don't like to rollerblade? Or like, kind of what's wrong with you? You don't like to do X? You don't like to do Y? It's like, no, I don't. This is what I like to do. SAT math. Leave me alone. Like, I like to play. You want to do problems with me too? Well, what did you get for 15?
Right.
That's an option. So it's just about finding those people or doing it that way and expanding because the greedy, really, I feel like in this conversation, the greed is looking stupid, not having the ideas, not conditioning yourself to play, not conditioning yourself.
Giving yourself space.
Yeah, giving yourself space for the prioritization of play as an essential part of your ongoing growth and your health and your vitality and everything that play does, right?
Yes.
So I think you could easily be greedy that your play is not someone else. I mean, people don't understand a lot of stuff. They don't understand how people golf. I don't understand how people can golf. Well, that's not your play. So pick your own thing.
Right.
Judge not.
That's a good point about play is no play is wrong, right?
Right.
However you play.
Yeah.
And I think, one of the ones I would say as an example is like singing in the shower.
Okay.
Some people might they enjoy that. It's like their play. And it's a safe place to do that.
Most usually often.
Right. It can be a safer place to do it.
Safe for everyone in your house. I don't know.
Or like in your car, whatever it is. And it's like, that might be playful for you. And then if that's true for me, I'm like, okay, then why don't I do that more? Well, I'm intimidated to sing in front of someone else. And yeah, I won't sing in front of a group, but why wouldn't I sing in front of one of my best friends? And why wouldn't I sing in front of someone I'm dating? What does that matter?
Right. Why do I care?
Why do I care? And so that's where the play gets tamped down, tamped down,
because you're worried.
Yeah, because you're worried. And I'm like,
judge or being
but you look at a 6-year-old and they don't care.
They couldn't care less. I just watched my video of my son. It's so funny that you said that. It just, comes across, and he had this little thing when he was 6, first grade. They did this big pageant. All of those kids, mouths wide open, singing every word, they're not singers. They're just 6-year-olds, who sing. And they're all piping in and having a great time. They prepped for it a long time and all that. You're right. And it wasn't stamped out of them yet.
No. And so then it's wait, why am I not, part of my work is to get there. Right. To be okay, if I want to dance around or sing or dance and sing or one or the other, why am I only restricting it in this little window where no one else can see me? Why am I not holding back and doing it whenever I want to? And if play is moving my body and stretching it and why wouldn't I do it in the airport? And it's why wouldn't I? And so I mean, I've done that.
I know. To understand why no one else does it. Yeah, now going 50 people would be like, yes, we're all stretching in the airport because they're given permission.
Totally. So whatever the play is, it's you can, I look at it as I can play here on my own, which we watch kids play on their own.
Yeah,
and then they do parallel play. And then they get together and do the joint play. And I'm I feel like I'm in that stage right now, and I got the option to do joint play with a 6-year-old.
Yes.
That could match me.
Yes.
Or I could match them.
Right.
And that created just such a playful moment for me to realize that's really what I want.
Totally.
I want to play, not just with myself, but I want to find people to play with. And I want it not parallel play, and I don't want me to just be singing in the corner, like dancing around. I'd like someone to join me in it, everyone.
Well, this is interesting too, though, because that's what we were just talking about. And like, how do you invite people to play? How do you find out like who plays like you? Because even what you said before was, if you're on the playground, you're going to find people who like, do you want to play dolls? Yeah, I want to play dolls. Do you want to play jump off the swing? Yeah, I want to play jump off the swing. Do you want to do this? Yeah, I want to do that. So finding like a workout buddy, now you find a play buddy, right? So that's helpful too, just in terms of the motivation to, like, I have a book club. I have a book club group. They're a group. It's a group chat. I'm not really in it. I'm not that good of a reader. Actually, that's a really good point. I love reading. Reading takes time, and it is playful, but it's also academic. So it can become really serious because now we're talking about these books, and I can get really heady and analytical. And even my one good friend is like, "Oh, I don't know if I like know as much." That she's super bright. I'm like, I think you know way more than I do when we talk about these books. But having people who are aligned with the way that you like to play, or like your friend whose partner brought the wings.
Yeah.
That's great, because it's like, actually, that's even a good point too. So I'm planning a little get together with my girlfriends here at my house in a few weeks. Small, trying to like, who wants to come, who makes sense to have together, and all that kind of stuff. It's just kind of like, I love all my friends, but just having like a good mix. And even in parties, you're planning like, either you're planning a party for people to come over, but it's almost like you want to say, who's in charge of the fun?
Yes.
Right? Like, you've got drinks, you've got this, you've got you're bringing the food. Who's in charge of fun? Because I always like to have at my parties, I have an activity.
Yeah. And so one of my friends calls it forced fun.
Forced fun.
And that actually happens. Like, I've done it at a dinner party, and we had forced fun and we had games, right?
Yes,
It's just like everybody participates, and like, sorry, you come to the dinner party, this is part of the forced fun.
Right.
And,
yes.
and it became very playful, and there was a lot of laughter and a lot of like, not everybody knew each other. They had to be playful. Right. Like, I had to be like a little ridiculous every once and again, like nothing crazy, but enough for them to be able to giggle at themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? To be able to like take themselves.
But everyone's doing it.
And the stakes aren't high.
These aren't high at all.
You're like,
are you recording this? No.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't blow the candle across the thing. Okay, that's fine. Like, it's not going to change anything for you tomorrow. But the forced fun, I think, is an important piece. And I haven't thought about that lately for get-togethers, is to make sure there's forced fun in there.
Yeah.
And actually, no, we did this like around the holidays. Like, my friend came over and she's like, we have to do ridiculous holiday pictures. And I was like, what are those? And she's like, let's do it. And so like
with the sweater and stuff,
like there were poses that like, things that we we used to do forever ago. They're almost like your Christmas pictures, right? The idea of like, oh, we're all gonna stand here like the JC pad,
totally. Yes, we're all going to JC Betty's. We're gonna take our photos.
Yeah, and we're all gonna stand the sides and like lift the shoulder and look at the camera and like hit the hand on the chin, kind of thing. So that same idea, and it was hilarious. And I realized for me, it helps me not take myself so seriously.
Yeah, no,
right, and that's where I think play comes in.
You're just making me think of this. I just was looking at our pictures from the Space Center. We were at the Space Center, I don't know, this summer, last summer, whatever. And there's a green screen behind you, and they're like, act like you're this, that, or you're like jumping off the space shuttle, right? And so my one son and I are like, we're just jumping off the space shuttle. My other son is like, has his arms outstretched, like he's doing like a slide into the, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I was telling him, like, how do you just know? He just knows how to play.
Yeah.
He's always been the master of play. He just knows how to do it. He's a performer too, but because of that, he knows how to play.
Because he's consistently done it.
Conditioned.
And it is, like we say, practice, right? Yes, it's a practice for him. And this is where play, I want it to be another of my practices.
Yeah.
Right. And I want to be forced fun becomes not forced. It's actually a normal part of the gatherings, the day, the week, whatever that is. For me to get some lightheartedness, get something that has no real point to it. Right. And no stakes aren't high. We're not this is not gonna change my current situation.
Yeah.
And to tap into that 6-year-old self and to do it skip across the room, not because it's efficient, because it's fun, right? And
Well, it does build different brain pathways. So
it does.
It's a really smart thing to do anyway.
For sure, we could analyze this and be like, well, we know that play helps creativity, and it does this, and it does all these amazing things.
We were even talking about the Power of Play book. I think that's what it's called. The
Power of Play.
Yeah, we were talking about that, so.
And like play helps curiosity, and curiosity helps problem solving, and like all of those great things that help. And I'm like, I just want to do it because I know it's good for me, because it feels good.
It's fun.
And it's fun.
That's the whole
And
point.
it's fun. It's just like fun.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know why else. Like, it just be ridiculous. And like sometimes I catch myself going, ooh, I don't know if I can do that. And I'm like, why not?
Yes, and why do we look at it the same way? Like a couple examples on that. So I have another girlfriend who has like not big dinner parties. She'll just have over another couple, here, there, and everywhere. And she's like, yeah, what do we do? We just played left, right, center. Just get this little dice game, left, right, center. And so it's like, it's just one of those things where you go around really fast and you're like, go to the left, go to the right, da, da, da. You're always laughing because you're always making a mistake, or then you have to do something different because you messed up and that kind of stuff. But it's just funny. It's right. And it's adult play.
Yes.
It's not like risque. It's just normal kind of, fun stuff that, adults can engage with each other and like have fun. So the other night we had dinner with another couple, and instead of driving to the restaurant, we walked. Like that's a version of adult play, because yes, I guess we could drive. It's really across the street. And I was like, hey, why don't we just walk there? And it's just prepping your mind to see things differently, because that all of a sudden now we get a whole nother conversation in a walk style, we get to joke about this and joke about that, and then one person wanted to go this way because they thought it was faster. And so we're like, oh, ha ha. And then he actually did beat us. He beat us getting around the ball. He was a little faster, but that's funny, right? Because now we have another joke, another way to look at it that way. So, yeah. So, I mean, I think even in terms of what we can do, fostering, because the grateful is having the opportunity, but we have opportunities every day, like your life can become so serious because we have so much stuff thrown at us every single day, all day long. And you wake up in the morning, and what I end up getting every day is fire. I am the world's greatest firefighter who has never held a hose, because I fight fires all day long. Well, it's hard to play when you're like fighting a fire. And even when my daughter asked me to play Uno, I'm fighting a fire. Right? So I need to put the fire hose down and say, yes, I can play Uno, or have a time slot there that's like, it's Uno night. Yeah, you probably had friends growing up who had game nights, like family nights where they had game nights, family game night. I still have friends, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, who do family game nights. And I'm like, that's such a nice ritual too to start, because then your kids get the idea that play has priority.
It does.
Just like your friends who had, Friday night dinner, it's like you will be home Friday night dinner, Sunday night, whatever it is, and giving the ritual to it for yourself, for your friends, for your family, that it's part of life, right? That it's like a built-in part of life. So there's the concept of kind of expanding your mind and thinking, what is play for you? What could it look like?
What is it? Yeah. What does it feel like? How does it bring you joy, and how does it get you connected to your 6-year-old self?
Right. Yeah.
Like, how do you access that?
Yeah.
And that gives me a lot of information.
Right.
Like, for me, it's a lot in nature. It's a lot moving my body. It's a lot, like just doing those types of things.
Yes. Because I'm thinking like how not to get stopped. Because when you say to your friend like, oh, wouldn't it be fun? And they're like, no, that sounds terrible. So rather than stop yourself there, grateful, not greedy. I'm still grateful. I'm not greedy that this isn't the friend that can do this with me. That's greedy. That friend doesn't want to. Okay, I'm still grateful. I'm so grateful. So what am I going to do? Hey, does this sound fun for you? Hey, friend two, how about this? Does this sound fun for you? No, that sounds terrible. That sounds miserable. I never want to do that. Okay. Hey, still grateful, not greedy. Now I'm friend one, friend two, hey, kid 6. Yeah. Do you want to do this, or does this sound fun? Because the piece is where you could get stopped. And then you're like, nobody wants to do this with me, or this doesn't sound fun to anybody, or whatever.
True. And there's the other piece of it, that some of the play you can actually do on your own. Like, is dancing around in the morning.
Yeah, man. The tea mouth is open for business.
Open all day long. Any time you want.
Yeah.
Like, pull it out, like, do your thing.
Yep.
Like, I turn up the music, move it around. Like, in your car, whatever that is.
This is such an important part, Rach, because that's the conditioning. That's just like going to the play gym, right? So you're going to the gym, but you do it on your own. That makes it part of your daily, ritual or something that you invite in every day or every other day, whatever you got going on. It's a really good point, because otherwise we view it as a task.
Yes.
We need to set up the time for play. Okay, right. The play will be at 5:00 on Thursday night. Please be here for play. It's like, well, that doesn't seem playful. It might be, but it doesn't seem playful as much as letting it in every day in little bits, whether that's a puzzle or a game on the table that's there all the time. Your kids just get used to seeing it, and you just get used to seeing it. Your needlepoint, your my SAT math, your playlist.
Yeah.
That's available. Maybe you get some new cute little dancing shoes that you're like, I love these, and they're like really fun and
on fairy wings. Like, I don't right. Like, that was like,
I'm super guilty of keeping every costume we've ever had in the entire history of the world, but it's up in the attic. I should probably pull it down and like put it on a rack. Like, this is our because that's another thing. What do kids do?
oh, they play dress up.
They play dress up. Yes, and they have all that. And my daughter does raves. What does she do when she goes to a rave?
Dress
She
up.
puts on a freaking amazing balls, rave outfit that is dress up, that's creative, that's so fun. And then they give each other stickers and gifts because it is their playing.
It really is.
But even that's interesting too, because as she was saying, like, oh, you should totally come to a rave with us. And I, in my head, Rach, was like, okay, music, whatever. Maybe I like it, maybe I don't. That's irrelevant. But I was like, I mean, she was like, you could wear one of these rave costumes too. And I'm like, oh, I can't remember. They're pretty risque. So, but I could wear my version of a rave costume.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely could wear my version of a rave costume, which would be kind of like goofy and maybe have this. Maybe I've got like a Mad Hatter thing going on. I can do whatever I want. And this is where I was saying my son is pretty genius in this. He has such a well-developed sense of play, which I should say I have it because he was raised by me. He was raised in my house. So I certainly have that. And we do in our house have a very wide band of acceptability and prioritization for play. I could just look at the evidence I have in my kids and my husband and whatever, and how much time we devote to things that don't have an outcome, that are play-based. Right. So you have to give yourself permission, really, in the first place, and then start just lining things up, that are playful, that are not dedicated, outcome, like I'm going to accomplish this, or this is the thing that I'm going to do, right?
Like, I am not singing because I think my singing is going to get better. Like,
Wait, you're amazing.
but like, I mean, here's the thing. I am singing just for the fun of it.
I don't know if you're amazing.
No, I'm a terrible singer, but like, it is just fun, and it is just for the sake of like feeling it.
Yeah,
you
yes,
know,
that's
and,
a
like,
really good point.
Doing it.
Yes,
and that's where the play really sticks in there for me. Of like, I am, I come from the doer, and I want to be the beer. I am the beer now.
Right.
And some part of that is like being. And when you play, you are fully present.
totally.
You're not like, when am I going to get dinner together? You're skipping down the street.
Yes,
Or you're like listening
I have
to
a
music.
trampoline.
Right. You have a trampoline. Like,
Yeah.
Like those things, there's a presence in there that is really beautiful. And when you watch little kids, they're very present. They're
Very.
not like, oh my gosh, tomorrow I got to get up early and get my shoes. Like they're not there. They're present. And so the play piece, it's like, it's got lots of reasons why it's important, but just for the sake of play.
Exactly.
All I want.
Yeah, we don't have to give you the 400, data points of why that this is an important thing.
Yeah.
It's more just to say, do you want to do it? Then you're saying like, yeah, I want to bring more play in my life. We don't have to sit there and say these are the 14. That's exactly the opposite of the
play. It is exactly. And you know what? We will sit there and do.
Well, read the two of us could totally analyze that to death. Well, let's defend our position of why play is so important. We know it's important, but the larger point is, it doesn't have to be important to be fun. No, it doesn't have to be important, but just to be something you add to your life.
And it doesn't have to have a result or an outcome that is going to make you X, Y, and Z better or whatever.
Yeah.
It is just for the sake of doing it.
I'm expanding this, even thinking about the trips that we take. when you go on a trip, right? And I have, I've developed a lot of flexibility around my trips because I travel with a family, which is like, I always say we're like moving a dinosaur. And no, it's not like we can just move the head or move the tail. No, everything, it's like this big thing. So in accommodating a lot of different people, you have to leave a lot of downtime in these trips. So we make these trips, but I don't say, okay, we're going to do this castle this day, and then that, and then we have break for the afternoon, and then we're going to be doing these, 3 churches after that, and then we're going to have a tasting of this special meat. You can't do that, right? And you let in that free time, which allows in basically play. Even on these big curated trips, they put in free days or whatever. That's your invitation to play, to do whatever it feeds your soul that day, whatever is, the thing that you want to do that kind of gives you the extra, like, oh, that was really cool, I went to that church. But not to say, if you're on a trip to Italy, you don't have to cover every trip. You can be playing along your trip to Italy, and that's just as relevant as the person who got all the data from every church and went to every step and, retraced all the Roman, and so whatever they did. Maybe that's fun for them. Maybe it's not. Maybe they can evaluate that. Because maybe they're just doing it because they were told to do it or everyone's done it before.
So they want to check the box.
Yeah, and I'm sure there are those of us who are guilty of even kind of hijacking that play moment on these vacations, especially if they're not just sitting on a beach, Even that. I can't just sit on a beach. I can't just sit on a beach for a week. Why not?
I know. And like, imagine if you actually sat still, you could see all the ways that you can actually play on a beach. Like, I was on the beach for 3 days with and on one beach for 3 days with a 6-year-old, and there was plenty to do. And we didn't even have like sand toys. We didn't have like we didn't have anything.
Oh,
we
shells
played.
And
No, we just like
driftwood.
Yeah, we found a cup. Yeah, with that, like, we rolled around in the sand. We dug ourselves in the sand. We made ourselves into mermaids out of the sand. And like, we rolled it, like, we played in the water. We got out of the water. It was just like a constant. You don't need a lot,
Right.
and that's the beauty of it. Is that you really don't need. Like, yes, it's fun to have the costumes, or it's fun to do all those sorts of things, but just play for the sake of it every day you don't, like, you just need yourself.
You just need yourself.
Maybe you have someone else to do it, but you also can just I can play on my own.
Yeah.
And it's, it ties back, I think, now that I'm kind of thinking through this, it not just ties like I can play on my own, but it's almost like, we say like you have to love yourself, you have to respect yourself. Yes. And this is like a form of love for yourself.
This is a really good point, Rach.
And this is a form of love for yourself.
Yeah,
giving yourself the space to just
be yourself.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
And
unapologetically
yourself. And tap into all these little pieces of you, the little you, the young you, the playful you, the, like all of that, and letting space for all of these pieces to come out. And this is another form of love. Another form of acceptance, another form of that being in there. And that's probably why I'm like, I need to play.
Probably why you're feeling it. Yeah, exactly. Because it comes from such a strong root of a presence and noting that I agree with you. I can see it now because it's also pulling away the judgment from everyone else, pulling away the expectations that you have from a society, from a family, from a church, from a school, from a job, from all that stuff that lives outside of you, just to say what, and we've said that, what is play for you? What does it look like? How are you going to bring it in? And how can you not apologize for it? And just like say, I'm going to do that. And that's actually interesting too, just as we're, as we like continue to weave in, kind of bring all this conversation together. The grateful, not greedy aspect for me in this conversation is not greedy that I don't know how to play. That's greed. I don't know how to play. Play is not important. I don't have time to play, like I haven't played since I was 6. Play is for kids, greed. Or, I just have hobbies. I don't play around, or I only want to be the best at pickleball. I can't play. I don't want to just have fun, like all this kind of stuff. That's fine. Then we can all find something else. I have 2 hula hoops sitting in my garage. Why? Because I got them for my kids for Christmas. Because I love the hula hoop. I love a good.
Yes, I love a good hula hoop. Actually, that sounds really fun.
That part, right after this, because because they're cool and they light up and they're in the garage. But to your point, I could also just leave those. And we've already discussed my problem with an organized house.
Yeah.
But I could just leave those in a way that was kind of inviting me to even have. Yeah, I don't have to apologize for anyone to be like, oh, I just pick up the Julio. But like I said, I have a trampoline, I have all these access points, but I also just have my own mind. My own ability to not to be greedy about, oh, I can't play because I can't think of anything, or I've got all this stuff to do, or I don't have that thing that I like to play with, whatever that is, my Ouija board or my SAT math book, I don't have that. And there's probably apps, who knows what, that are like playful. Which is kind of a side note. It's like, if you like to play games, is that playing? Like,
I don't know. And that's where, like, and here's the thing, like, I'm not here to judge anybody else's play. I'm here to discover what my play is.
Yes.
To give myself space for it.
Yep.
And to love myself enough to give that a priority, make that a priority. And that's really good for me.
Yeah, like grateful that you can play, grateful that you can expand yourself, grateful that you had the opportunity for it. Yeah.
And I do believe, like, if I put it out there and I love playing, like, I'm going to attract things that are playful around me.
Who are playful.
People, events, things like.
I can tell my daughter is another master of play, and she does attract it.
She does. I see it.
You see it all the time. I mean, today she's going off to a tea party, like a tea party. Yeah. And then her girlfriend saying like, oh, it's so great. She helped me plan everything. She did all that stuff because her mind is very creative, very playful that way. Yeah. It doesn't have to be, academic. It doesn't have to be an outcome, none of that stuff. So I guess that's the final lesson too, is that we can learn. You can always I always say, look for the avatar, look for people who are playful, look for ways that people are making their lives a little lighter. What are they doing? We can learn from really great examples, of people who are out there doing that, whether that's people who are in the arts, or people who just kind of have a lightness about them, or people who laugh a lot, people who smile a lot. Like, they're probably just like in their lives playing, a lot with how they like kind of put it together. So we can think about that too. Yeah. Any other takeaways, like key takeaways? I don't want to forget it.
No, I think this was really good. And I think the idea of allowing the space for it to happen, doing it on my own or with others, and knowing that it is a form of love for myself.
Yeah, self-love. Yeah, I love that.
And that helps give me clarity, and like, and know that this is like all a part of that framework, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Like, it's all a part of the framework of like grateful, not greedy, of stepping into it and being like, okay, I know I can access this. It doesn't need to be a formal structured thing. I can create it any way I want to. I don't need it to be only at party events or only at things. Like, it can be little bits anywhere, anytime, anyhow. And I have access to that at all times.
Exactly. And not grateful, not greedy that, oh, I can only do it this way, I can't do it this way. Oh, it wasn't on my calendar. Have you put on your calendar? What did you do to play today? Like I told you, I have, are you not doing the important things,
Right.
because you're like prioritizing it this way? Well, how did you play today? Like, what did you do today? We ask our kids, what was fun today? What did you do at recess? What was fun at school?
What if we asked each other, we're like,
what was fun today, Kris? What did you play with today, Rachel? How did you have fun? What did you play? That's such a good point, right? It was your central point even to begin with. We don't necessarily think to prioritize it. And if we start asking, like, I ask people at parties when I meet them, I say, what do you do for fun? I don't say, what do you do for work, Rach?
Yeah.
What is your life about? I say, oh, I literally say in conversation, oh, this is whatever, Bob. Oh, hey, nice to meet you, Bob, blah, 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 blah. Oh, so, what do you like to do for fun? Like, what's your life about, basically? I don't say, what do you do for a living? Maybe that's winked into who they are as a person.
Maybe not.
But if they say I'm a lawyer, I'm like, well, that's great. That could start a whole story. But really, it's, what do you do for fun?
Well, and I ask them, like, I prioritize play. How do you play? Right. And I'm like always curious what people say. They're like, play, and sometimes they're like,
this is weird.
I know. I'm like, no. I know. Crazy girl from Hawaii, like, on the mainland, doing her thing. Good news, I did not pack the ferryway. So. But it's just like the question is like, how do you play? Like, what is that for you?
Which was just essentially my same question.
Yeah.
What do you do for fun?
What do you do for fun?
Yeah.
And there's like, it's like it. And if someone's like, I I don't know. And it's no judgment. It's like, well, do you want it? And if I want it, like, how do you access it? And that's what I know. I want it and I want to access it. So that's the whole point of this conversation.
This conversation. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I love it. I love it. And I'm thinking even like the ways that we'll take it even from here, I would put together a couple helpers for people to kind of identify what do you do for play, because a lot of that is just the free flowing. We talked about creative writing. We talked about just journaling. That can be kind of cumbersome even, for as someone who's so interested in like growing and expanding. Like journaling to me is like, oh my gosh, I have to journal. You have to do it with writing because that's how it flows, blah, blah, blah. But if you just say like, hey, think about playing,
Yes.
I can do that. Or, hey, write this quick, little free-form story. You remember, this is a good point here, just to like circle it back. My dad, when we got older as kids, remember?
I do.
So instead of at Christmas, instead of saying, okay, everyone, we're all going to exchange gifts, and we were all older, well into our 20s, he said, we're not going to do gifts. Well, he said, I don't need gifts. What I really want from all of you is a story, any kind of creative writing. So I guess this is in my DNA, right? Now that I'm kind of like putting it through even to my son and my daughter. And how fun was that, Rach?
Oh my gosh, the stories were so much fun. It was like the highlight of the day.
Highlight. So instead of on Christmas Eve, us all sitting there like rushing out to the mall, which is what my family's now doing, like rushing out, trying to get each other.
We're all sitting in our corners, tic-tacking.
We're all sitting in our corners, super stressed out because the assignment was due tomorrow. Completely. Every time I was first supposed to say, we were just like, oh my gosh, I got to get this. But I mean, insanely creative. And then we would sit, I'm so glad we're remembering this right now. And then we would sit on Christmas and we would all read them.
We would.
And then even like her son got involved, right?
Yes.
With like brought in as people joined the family, people like got involved, and like how cool was that? Like
It was such a brilliant, your dad had such a brilliant idea with that. And it was like, it's some of my favorite moments were from those. And I still remember many of the stories.
I remember Dionysus dinging. I'm never going to forget it. There's like certain things that came from that. Yeah. Like growing up. So yeah, to that point, there's a lot of ways that can express the creativity and fun. And it doesn't seem fun to have the assignment, right? When you're like, oh my gosh, I have to do that. But it does bring forth like just that creative spirit in you, knowing that you can write something that's like, that speaks to people, or that's funny, or that has little elements in it that are interesting, that gives more of you, or any of it, just to kind of get us sparking and thinking like that. So yeah, it's all good. So with that, Rach, this has been, is, and forever will be the Grateful Not Greedy podcast. Thanks for joining us. And let's maybe get those hula hoops.
Yeah.
Get those hula hoops and jump on the trampoline. We're going to double down on this play.
Double down.
Okay, aloha, Rich.
Aloha, Kris.